Hey everyone, it's Arfan with Grow Automate Scale. Let me ask you a question. Have you just ever wondered how you can automate your lead generation to be able to get clients and also speed up the time frame when you get clients? Because if you've been a coach for a while or even hopping to being a new coach, you might find out that you have to be on social for quite a bit. Online or offline, it takes a lot of nurturing and a lot of work potentially just to establish a rapport to convert one client. And there are simpler methods that can basically allow you to take your message and go from one to one to many and be able to convert clients in a short time frame. And it is possible using and leveraging Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, YouTube, LinkedIn, any platform you choose to use. In this particular case, I'm going to show you how to do it through Facebook advertising. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm going to switch over to share my screen. I'm going to walk you through this in the next 15-20 minutes, and you'll see how simple and quick it is. It is going to be, I want to do one caveat. It is a process where you do need to kind of also have an understanding that you have to try this a few different times and tweak and adjust it, because first time you do it, you may just get a small conversion rate, maybe 1 or 2 clients, 3 or 4, but you got to test this and depending on the budget you use too as well. But I want to show you how it's done so you can be empowered to get more clients for your coaching business within the next 17 days. Okay, doing it in an automated way. All right, let's go into this. So the very first thing I want to share is that this does work quite a bit, especially when we think about how much do we spend. So if you have a larger budget and you want to start off around 5K, you can go to 16K. But the process is when you set this up right, you're gonna get high quality leads, and I'm gonna show you exactly the images and the type of ad copy to write. You'll be able to generate more sales and get a great return on ad spend. With our client Ryan, he even started off with a lower ad spend, like 3,200 is not a low amount by any means, but it also is comparatively speaking to what you could potentially do, right? So 250 plus leads, and he ended up converting 25K in sales with an 8x return on ad spend. So I'm going to break this down for you, okay? And the way this starts off is what's called the launch process. And there's 3 parts of this. There's the pre-launch, the actual launch itself, which you're going to be inviting people to a live or an evergreen type of offer, or an event, I call it, right? Events are great because what they do is they attract a lot of people to show up and to want to consume it. Think of like when a movie premieres or a phone comes out or a festival going on in town or something like that. It's an event and it attracts people to it. So we want to put on this event. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be grand like that. That's one of the great things about online, is that it doesn't have to be this amazing and this crazy grand, oh my goodness, let's do a festival or something like that. You can literally execute a festival using digital capacity and a very, very low amount of effort and energy as compared to doing it in person, right? Or even if you host a class online. And I want to show you the top 3 things I recommend too as well to host for an event. And then the post live is you're going to be able to analyze this and look and see from day 17 and beyond, what worked well, what didn't work well, how can we implement this again to get better results? And so let's go right into it. So the pre-launch, this is going to happen about 10 to 14 days before your live event, right? Simple as that. You want to laser focus your messaging. You want to basically have a live event that's going to help someone overcome an exact and very, very specific issue or a challenge or pain they're going through right now. Okay. And every one of you right now who's watching this can think of like, hey, I can teach you in 30 minutes how to da-da-da-da. So you don't da-da-da-da, right? I'll teach you how to set up Facebook ads so you don't waste your money, following a plan that's not going to work for you or something like that. Just a quick off the top of my head. So now, the thing is, we go start testing ad creatives, ad copy, and landing page conversion rates. You want to know what's going to work, right? So I'll show all this a little bit to you here in more details. But I want, if you're watching this, I'm kind of thinking that you have an understanding of what these things are. What is a landing page? Okay. What is ad copy, or what copy is in general? What the creative is in general. If you do not, you're probably kind of a few steps ahead of where you should be right now, in the sense of you want to step back up and learn more about the coaching business. Because if you understand these things right here, we're in good company. All right. So let's go on next to here. What we talk about a little bit of the budget. Right, so in this pre-launch phase, where the bulk of your budget will be used, and the reason is because we're going to leverage the most of our budget to be able to acquire as many leads as possible. The first time you do this, you may only focus 100% of your budget in the pre-launch phase, and that's totally okay. As you expand and grow, you're also going to put a percentage of budget to the retargeting phase, which I'll talk about in here in a bit. So Huge focus on lead generation. We want to get as many leads as possible. And that's the beauty of it. The more leads we have, the more opportunities we have to convert. And this is where you're going to see the standard 3%, 4%, 5% conversion rates become true. If you have 10 leads and you get 1% and you get one person, that's a 10% conversion rate. It's going to scale your numbers. Because now if you have 100 leads and you get 2 that converts, that's a 2% conversion rate. So you want to be able to have enough leads so you can get a real sample size and not just from a small, tiny sample size. Okay. So big focus on lead generation. Then you're going to host your live event. That's, plain and simple. You're going to host your live event and you're going to have open cart for 5 to 7 days. So you can see how this can take up to 17 days, depending on if you have a whole full 14-day cycle plus a full 7-day cycle. It can take 21 days at max, but about 17 days is where you'll be able to execute this process fully. And depending on your price ticket, this can work for many price tickets. We've tested this from low $97 offers, membership offers from $47 a month, $67 a month, $97 a month and beyond. So it works for all these type of offers. In addition to high ticket offers, $4,000, $5,000, and $8,000 offers have converted using this model. So it's definitely can be done. I will tell you, when you go higher ticket, you definitely want to have a lot more budget invested because you do need a lot more leads versus if you're at a lower ticket price point. And just, if you want to be like, hey, I want to start testing this, see how it's going to work, start with the lower ticket offer, then go to high ticket, because the high tickets, and when I say low, don't go super low because, you might not get a return on your ad spend. So, just if you execute this yourself, just kind of think about that as far as, which offer you're going to go with, depending on the budget you have. So, for example, if you have $1,000, you have a very high ticket offer, like $8,000. Just understand that you potentially, the conversion rates can be lower for those, especially for cold traffic, and you really have to put a big emphasis on this open cart phase, to where if they don't convert directly on the live event, this open cart phase is your opportunity now to reconnect with them and work to nurture that lead a little more. So if you're in high ticket, if you're lower ticket, this phase right here will essentially just make sure they can get as much information they can to make a decision with enough time. So you could also still work your leads live by inviting them to other, spontaneous live on Facebook, Instagram, where you just share information or connect, or Q&As, and a number of different things. Next is, as for the retargeting, like I mentioned, it's going to retarget your email list. You're going to target the people on Facebook and Instagram for 30 days engaged. So anything you've been doing organically, especially the last 30 days, you can be able to retarget those. And people visiting your websites, especially if you have a blog or something like that, we want to retarget all those visitors. Next, when I talk about the budget, so 20% of the budget will be used here, and this is with the live launch itself, and this is for retargeting. Now, this 20%, I put this little squiggly mark there. It's kind of around 20%. If you have a huge $100,000 budget, 20% is $20,000. You may not need that much. You can get really great results with 10,000, 8,000 or so. You can distribute a little bit different. If you're at 5,000, similarly, $1,000 to retargeting, that's pretty good, actually, a good ratio. So you can kind of, depending on what you want. Like if you're like, hey, my list right now is a little bit low, I want to get more leads, that's fine. Focus on the leads and adjust the retargeting, right? Because you're still going to send emails, you're still going to go on social, you're still going to show up in other ways to where you don't necessarily need to run ads, unless you're like, hey, I definitely gotta run ads because like I'm going to be on vacation or something like that, and you probably wouldn't want to do this if you're going on vacation either. Next here is going to be the ads behind the process. So I showed you the process, right? So again, we're going to start 10 to 14 days before. We're going to advertise towards our actual live event. We're going to get leads directly to sign up for our live event. Then after we host our live event for the next 5 to 7 days, 4 to 7 days, 4 to whatever, however long you want to keep your cart open window. I will say this works best between 5 to 7 days, because again, these are cold leads and you do have to continue nurturing still too as well, to get the maximum conversions afterwards. You will see people convert on here. Sometimes you may just say, you know what, I just want to get the live event and that's it. You can host multiple live events every week and follow this without even having to worry about the open cart. Just continuously, get a live event, convert a live event, keep moving on without needing to do this. So you can also customize this to best, how you would like to do it. So let's move on to the ads behind the launch process. Move my camera out the way so you can see that there. Put my camera back over. So again, you have lead generation, which is for the pre-launch, and then your live launch is your retargeting ads, basically talking about your program, your offer, or if you have a book a call funnel as an example, a different one. So the two ad campaign you're going to be using is going to be lead generation. The second one is going to be also depending on what the call to action is going to be. So if it's book a call, you need to do a book a call campaign, right? Something that's going to track for book calls. If it's purchase, if you're just saying directly, hey, go buy my course, you do it for purchase campaign. So there's going to be a little bit of caveats there depending on what the call to action is. But in 100% of the cases, I say that back, about 80% of the cases it's going to be lead generation for the pre-launch. The exception is if you're hosting a paid event, like let's say you're doing a low ticket, $9, $7, $20, $30, $40, whatever, however much cost you're doing for a live event that you're hosting online. That'll be the other, you do a purchase event. That's this blank spot here. Just picture that in your mind. So the top three events that I recommend is going to be workshop, masterclasses, or challenges. If you want to move away from doing webinars, kind of like in our mind, these things are structured in somewhat of a webinar. A lot of times I use the term webinar now just to convey an idea of like, hey, using a live event to sell, and there's a structure behind it, right? Not to necessarily say, hey, join my webinar. I'm doing this webinar, because you want to, you would treat it like a workshop style webinar, masterclass webinar, in the sense of you're still going to be helping them to do something here. You're going to really teach them something they can walk away with, or a challenge is you're doing a combination of the both. You're going to be teaching and doing it at the same time. You can structure that a number of different ways. So let's move on here. These are just kind of examples of those. We did one that's right here. It's a little money blocks training. This is a live workshop. 963 leads at $2.41, converted that into a 10x return on ad spend. Another live event on here. I don't have the actual full data, but this is a deeper target audience. This live event is leading to a higher ticket, so the cost per lead is a little bit higher. And just understand that your cost per lead is going to be different depending on your target audience too as well. So I just want to give an example. This was for a paid event. So it was a $9 event. It cost about $13 per lead. So if you think about that in the sense of like this, in this case is we're paying close to $2.40 per lead. In this case right here, we're paying technically about $4.42 per lead. So, but the difference is everybody here already paid. So it actually had a super amazing conversion. I will say to get something that's optimized to this level, it has to be really, really specific. Really specific. This is not uncommon for a cost to be, for a purchase campaign to be 3, sometimes 4x what the ticket cost is. And that's unfortunately just the nature of sometimes advertising works. But again, the conversion rate on the back end, so leading someone into a paid event, leading into a high ticket on the back end, it works amazing if you have a really high ticket offer. So just some things and points there. So let's move on here. So the live launch ad. So again, you have retargeting your warm leads and you're retargeting the hot leads. A little screenshot, setting up those audiences I mentioned already. So how many ads are needed? So lead generation, you want to have a minimum of 3 ads, where there's a combination of 2 images and 1 video, or 3 images, or even however your combination you'd like. I would definitely say definitely have an image and definitely have a video for sure. Don't only do 2, definitely include more in there. 3 to 5 is really awesome. Some examples here are some popular online businesses that you can see they have 100 results. They have 100 ads going. In that case, 1,300 ads going, 61 results. You can see here a number of different, depending on the scale that you're actually using. You can get a variety of different ads. But when you combine this right here and you combine it with the copy, you can turn, if you do 2 ad copy with the same 3, now you have 6 ads, right? So you can extrapolate the number of ads you're testing at the same time by doing some different things. For ad copy itself, this is where you need at least 2 versions. I recommend a long and a short, depending on your niche, your offer, what you want to communicate. Short works great with videos. Long works awesome with image posts. You don't have to do that combination. It's just some things where you still want to test everything too as well. So the other piece on here is going to be about word count. So 200 words for short, less than, or 500 words for a long. The biggest thing here is not so much hitting a word count. It's going to be, can you communicate the message articulately? And what I mean by that is, here's an example of how we structured our ad copy, right? So it's called Ad Flow Formula. I created this a long time ago. We've followed this for a long time. It works amazing. So number 1 is we want to capture attention. Number 2 is we want to relate to our audience. Number 3, we want to talk about a shift, right? Where, typically when we're leading with these ads is leading with, hey, you have a problem, I have a solution. So I want to capture the attention of what the problem is. I want to relate to them so they can understand, who I am, why I'm the guy to help them with this problem, the shift, like how I went from this problem to now, actually learning how to give a solution for the problem. And then we give them a chance to take their turn, which is going to be, hey, to sign up. And this kind of follows through 1, 2, 3, 4. You can customize this and you can do any ad copy. This is one of the beautiful things about it, because again, we can always capture attention with a statement or a question. We want to keep it about a short sentence, about 125 characters or less. Otherwise, it's going to turn into to see more. You want to relate. Okay, so you can see that on the screen over here. You can pause this and take a look at that and read it, and you can see how this is going to apply to you. And give yourself a chance to pause and maybe even try to writing it really quick, even if it's super short, and you can also give it long. It's just basically like, hey, I want to capture attention. 125 characters, should be pretty short. Let's move on here now. The next piece is how many ads are needed. So again, we talked about the live launch ads. So a minimum of 3 ads, videos, 2 ad copy, depending on your audience size. So for example, if you're retargeting a list, if you were able to get 100 leads, I would say, hey, skip retargeting. Don't even think about it. Like you have too little leads. It's best when you start getting around a range of about 500 plus leads. That's when you can start including retargeting. So if your email list size is there, then boom, go ahead. And you could potentially, don't even need to do the full 3 and 2. You can just, communicate the top message you possibly can, because there's going to be limited testing on there. When you have a bigger audience size, if you're, like some of our clients have 300, 400, over 1 million followers in some cases. That's where we test a lot more. We have maybe 10 to 12 videos going. We have a larger ads budget. So depending on your audience size, this is going to be some variety. But at a minimum, if you're executing this with about, $5,000 ad spend, I would plan on doing about 3 images and video combinations of 2 ad copy to retarget to the main offer, that you're going to be selling at the back of, at the end of your, event. So you want to follow this process to create a repeatable launch that you can scale to 6 figures and beyond. Basically, you can do this every week if you like, depending on how often you want to do it. But if you see this process, the way you follow this, the traditional launch model typically happens over 12 weeks, like between 8 to 12 weeks. When you leverage advertising, your launch model actually condenses quite a bit, because now you're at 17 days. And when you build up leads and you continue emailing every week, you follow the same launch model. You launch your entire list. So you invite everybody from your list to the event. You also get new leads to ads, and you just repeat this process, and you start seeing your business scale and scale and scale. Some of the things that we can kind of go through, and I'll back up for a second. Some of the challenges that we often face here is that, what is the topic that's going to attract the most leads for the lowest cost? And also, how do we structure the training and stuff, and execute the training to the point where I'm, effectively communicating, their pains, challenges, and your solution, and then giving the call to action, right? So it's a very simple process to do that, to test it a few different times. When you get 10, 15, 20 people on you live, and you do that a few times, you figure out how to convert them into paying clients. Either the very, very first time you do it, which is awesome because you have an offer that's just like a no-brainer, or maybe you're not the best at sales yet, you're still learning, and that's okay. So I want to give you the opportunity, though, regardless of where you are right now, to also schedule a 30-minute consult call with me, where we'll discuss if Facebook advertising is the best way for you to go right now, depending on your business. So we'll talk about the advertising strategy for your business, whether that's going to doing a live launch, a challenge, a masterclass, a webinar, if you will, right? Let's call it what it is. We'll talk about that. We'll set clear goals and expectations on implementing the actual strategy. So what are the goals? Like, what are you looking to achieve? How many sales are you looking for? What kind of budget do you have? What's a realistic budget? Depending, if you have a brand new ad account, you cannot spend $2,000 over 17 days. They physically won't let you do that. Is a protection mechanism. However, there's a plan in place where we can free up the budgeting on the account. So just kind of give an example. And of course, we'll talk about how you can establish automated lead generation so that way you can gain back more of your time. The cost of this call is totally free. So definitely book it. The link is below, arfan.com/start. Just fill out the quick, choose your date and time, fill out a quick form, and we could chat for 30 minutes and just kind of discuss what this will look like, and also what it will look like to work together for me to help you and your team to either learn how to do this yourself in your business, or for me and my team to do it all for you. Hope this video was helpful to you, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk again on the next one.